Turn to the book of Romans. Romans is just to the left of Ephesians. There's Corinthians in there also, of course. But Romans chapter 13, you'll notice that the Apostle Paul says that we should not only redeem the time, but he said we should understand the times. Understand our times. Are you a student of our times? I hope you are. It says in verse 11, "And this do, knowing the time, that it is already the hour for you to awaken from sleep. For now salvation is nearer to us than when we believed. The night is almost gone, the day is at hand. Let us therefore lay aside the deeds of darkness and put on the armor of light. Let us behave properly as in the day, not in carousing and drunkenness, not in sexual promiscuity and sensuality." And our world is filled, drowning, choking in sensuality. "Not in strife and jealousy, but put on the Lord Jesus Christ and make no provision for the flesh in regard to its lusts." In the imagery here, what Paul is doing is he is comparing the return of Christ to the day. And he's saying, in effect, that we are living in the night and we must recognize that the day is coming, our redemption is drawing near. And because our redemption is drawing near, it is time for us to wake up and to realize that we are in a battle for daylight kind of living, namely purity. So the first thing he says is, knowing the time, it is high time to wake out of sleep. He's saying to the people, wake up, wake up. Don't you see what is happening in today's world? Don't you understand that we are in serious spiritual need? And I'd like to just share that with you this morning. Do you realize that we are in serious spiritual need? And I don't mean simply our nation. I don't mean the city of Chicago or the United States of America. I mean even we here at the church. We are in great spiritual need. There are marriages that struggle with all kinds of friction and difficulty. There are children who are struggling with temptations. There are homes that are being torn apart. There are people who are going through emotional turmoil. And there are many who are living in carnality and finding it satisfying with no heart whatever for God. We need to wake up. God's alarm is ringing. And how many times does it have to ring before we say yes? Wake up. Secondly, he says, dress up. He says, this is the hour for you to awaken from sleep, for now our salvation is nearer to us than when we believed. He says, let us therefore lay aside the deeds of darkness and put on the armor of light. He says, get dressed for the battle. Don't you know? We don't have forever. We don't have forever. And I want you to know, by the way, that we do not have forever. We don't have forever. Jesus chided the religious leaders of his day for being able to anticipate the weather and knowing what a red sky in the evening would mean the next day. He says, but you don't have any sense of the times. You don't understand the times. And could I say as a parenthesis, what incredible times we live in today. You know that John and Joy Hayward, I'm not sure if they're with us this morning, but they have been worshiping here, missionaries of ours in France. They were telling us about what's happening in Europe. You can get a little card, it's like our credit card, and you can use that card at toll booths. You can use it to make telephone calls. You can use it to make purchases in stores, in grocery stores, all over. This can be your card that takes care of all your financial transactions. And when they showed it to us, I said, now this card is very important. What if you lost it? Well, that would be very serious. What is the next step? Well, the next step is to tattoo the number either on your head or your hand so that you wouldn't be able to lose it.
Well, this is Pastor Lutzer, and of course, as I was ending today, as you know, I was talking about the fact that the Bible predicts that a time is going to come when everything will be controlled. And of course, we think of the mark of the beast and how easy that would be to do today, considering computers and all of the technology that keeps mushrooming. Now, in the midst of this, it is important for us to discern the times and to make the best use of time. let me give you a suggestion. When you're traveling in the car, rather than listening to the radio, and of course some of you may be listening to the radio right now, and it is important that you listen if you're listening to a broadcast or listening to a Christian station. But one of the things that I have found that is very valuable is to take CDs with me. So those CDs can bless me with music. They can also bless me with excellent preaching. And as a result of that, I can make use of the time. So much of our time is spent on freeways today, particularly if you live in Chicago. Well, what I'm trying to do, my friend, is to help all of us to do what the Bible commands us to do, namely to redeem the time, because it is true that the days are very evil.
Thank you, Dr. Lutzer. Dr. Erwin Lutzer is presenting a series on the stewardship of our time, talents, resources, and affections. On tomorrow's Running to Win, we'll conclude this first message on Christ, the Lord of our time. Using our time wisely means listening to great teaching while on the go. This entire series can be yours on CD as our thank you when you give a gift of any amount to Running to Win. For all the details, call us at 1-800-215-5001. That's 1-800-215-5001. On the Internet, go to offerrtw.com. That's offerrtw, all one word, .com. Finally, you can write to Running to Win, Box 11174, Chicago, Illinois, 60611. This is Dave McAllister. Join us tomorrow for our next edition of Running to Win.